Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are playing 39 Days to Mars, and this video is very much a guide on how to get the Cutty Sark achievement, which is to complete the game in 30 minutes or less. This game is great fun to play, and it takes 2 people to play it, so it's like a couch co-op. You can play it 1 player, but it's a bit harder. So in order to get through this guide, you are going to have to fail most of the tasks in the game. I'm going to drop in and out and give you some hints and tips as we go on what ones to fail and what ones to do, and hopefully that should get you through to the Cutty Sark achievement. Okay, so the game timer starts when both players hold X and fill the bar. You'll see the timer on screen running continuously, so you can keep a rough check on your progress and how you're getting on.
Idea.
I'm going to let this beginning section just play through. There's not much you can do here to save time except be efficient, so hopefully this guide's of use and I'll drop back in later when we get on board the ship.
We need nothing except our courage.
And perhaps a map.
After the flight plan got shredded by Percival, I put the pieces in the commode for safekeeping. That looks good enough. We can sort out the details on the way.
It's Albert's fishing rod, though I've never seen him catch a fish. I could jump and grab the key, but then I'll fall 3 stories and die.
It's an ornate key made out of cast iron.
My hair stands on end when I get too close. It's Albert's uncle's brother's great-grandmother's tea chest.
It's my favorite top hat. I'm sure these symbols have a significant meaning. Maybe I should have written them down.
Last time we left the gate unlocked, Albert's cousin took the HMS Fearful for a joyride. At last, we're ready to depart.
Up there is our spaceship, the HMS Fearful. Pieces are falling off of it as we speak.
Okay, once you climb up, the first thing you're going to need to do is untie the ladder, so don't stray too far, otherwise you'll be wasting time running backwards and forwards, so linger around and you'll soon be able to untie the large knot.
We're off on our voyage to Mars.
So glad that everything's running smoothly. This looks complicated. It should probably wait until after I've had a cuppa.
It's a teapot. I went all the way to Stoke-on-Trent to buy it.
Okay, so you're going to be making the first cup of tea. Follow the instructions, obviously it's different every time. The trick here is to carry the tea to the first activity and then fail out of it 3 times, and then you can put the tea back down on the little table next to the teapot where you've made it. The same is true for making the scones as well. You need to carry it to the activity, fail out 3 times, and then put the scone back on the table after you've done that in order to progress.
This looks like a good cuppa.
I wonder where all this.
Okay, so once you enter into each activity, you're going to want to press the circle button to cancel out and select give up. You need to do that 3 times before putting either the tea or the scone back on the relevant table.
Thousands of liters of water. I'm fairly sure we just made things worse. I'm fairly sure we just made things worse. I'll just leave this cup here for later.
It's almost time for elevensies. This will have to wait until after I've had a scone. There's a roaring fire that Albert is going to try and cook his scones in.
So as with making the tea, you need to make the scone following the instructions. Again, they're different every time. Once you're done and successful, you need to take that to the activity, cancel out 3 times, and then put this back on the table next to the stove.
We've made the perfect scone.
Without any steam from the boiler, Albert will never be able to iron his top hat.
I don't think that helped. It now looks more likely to explode than ever. I don't think that helped. It now looks more likely to explode than ever. I don't think that helped. It now looks more likely to explode than ever.
I'll just leave this scone here, in case I get peckish later.
It's almost time for afternoon tea. This will have to wait until after I've had a cuppa.
Ah, a proper cup of tea.
The gravity generator seems to be on fire. That didn't work. Now it's even more broken than before.
The gravity generator doesn't normally emit this much smoke.
That didn't work. Now it's even more broken than before. That didn't work. Now it's even more broken than before.
On second thoughts, I'll drink this later.
Okay, so the fishing puzzle where you go off in this little craft to catch 3 jellyfish.
I'm
You
not
can't
fishing
fail
with
this
my
one, so you
hands.
just have to do it
So
as quickly
we'll
as
need
possible.
something to hook the fish.
It's a whole bundle of Baxter's walking sticks. He predominantly uses them to stab things.
We're going.
The Royal Society of Explorers had a leaky diving bell that we borrowed for this voyage.
The diving bell can't possibly leak, because we're not underwater.
If we follow that fish, it should lead us to a whole school of them. If we follow that fish, it should lead us to a whole school of them. By my calculations, 3 fish should be enough food to sustain us for the rest of the voyage.
If you're struggling at this section, I find it easier to take control of both controllers. It's only the X button, so you can have one in each hand, and it makes controlling and catching a little bit easier.
Only 2 more fish to catch. That looks like a reasonable haul. Now we can head back to the ship.
We can use our spare diving bell to go fish hunting.
Our food supply fermented and then exploded. The smell is indescribable.
This looks complicated. It should probably wait until after I've had a cuppa. Ah, a proper cup of tea. It's difficult to steer the HMS Fearful when the controls are on fire.
Oh dear. Now the controls are in an even worse state. Oh dear. Now the controls are in an even worse state. Oh dear. Now the controls are in an even worse state.
I can't carry that much at the same time. On second thought, I'll drink this later.
That hit the spot. My hands are already full. This scone looks so delicious, I'm going to save it for later.
So this is another task that is easier to complete than it is to fail. Once you've run back and picked up either the scone or the tea that you made earlier, it's on the little tables, come back, head out and collect the coal.
It's still hot.
It's the machine we used to pick up coal. It doesn't look very space-worthy.
We need at least 3 bushels of coal to get the engine up and running again. This coal won't be of any use until we get it back to the HMS Fearful. One down, only 2 more scoops of coal to fetch. Look at that. We only need 1 more bushel of coal.
We collected enough coal to power ourselves all the way to Mars.
So with this task, I find you have to cancel out 5 times rather than 3. I think that's true for any of the activities where you need to refer to the library for the books, but if you cancel out 5 times, it should progress once you put the tea or the scone back on the table.
Sending a telegraph with our status would be easier if we actually knew how to use the telegraph machine.
I don't actually know what we just said. If only there was a book in the ship's library. I don't actually know what we just said. If only there was a book in the ship's library. I don't actually know what we just said. If only there was a book in the ship's library. I don't actually know what we just said. If only there was a book in the ship's library. I don't actually know what we just said. If only there was a book in the ship's library.
I'll just leave this scone here, in case I get peckish later. I'm glad we packed our bottle of... Our first live specimen. I should put it in the specimen.
Ah, how cute. Our very own baby space Kraken.
So this is another challenge where you need to cancel out 5 times rather than 3, and you'll progress once you put the tea or the scone back after.
That hit the spot.
I think the ship's garden might be a little overgrown.
We can't just cut things haphazardly. I'm sure we've got a gardening book on board somewhere. We can't just cut things haphazardly. I'm sure we've got a gardening book on board somewhere. We can't just cut things haphazardly. I'm sure we've got a gardening book on board somewhere. We can't just cut things haphazardly. I'm sure we've got a gardening book on board somewhere. We can't just cut things haphazardly. I'm sure we've got a gardening book on board somewhere. This scone looks so delicious, I'm going to save it for later.
We'll be able to hang the washing out on this clothes.
You never know when it's going.
So it's quicker to defeat the Kraken than to just get eaten by it. I found this challenging, This is probably the quickest I've ever done it, but I find if you're always prepared to open your umbrella and have your partner pull you back as quick as possible, you should get through it okay.
Gosh, I feel rather bad about cutting his arms off now. Our sturdy landing craft is made out of the highest quality steel and some leftover bricks. Our sturdy landing craft is made out of the highest quality steel and some leftover bricks. We made it, safe and sound and currently floating 196 miles above the Martian.
It's 196 miles to the ground, and I'm feeling slightly dizzy already.
So the quickest way to land on Mars is to crash land. If you aim for as many rocks as possible and hit them as hard as you can, I think it's 3 or 4 crashes or hits, and you'll crash land on Mars. So once you've landed, you need to collect the rug from the right hand side and the teapot from the left, and then set up a little camp and make the last cup of tea. I think as soon as you pick up that perfect cup of tea, that's when the timer stops.
I can't believe we survived that.
I need a cup of tea to calm my nerves after that descent.
Every reasonable escape craft carries a checkered picnic rug.
There's not a scratch on the teapot.
So you need to keep an eye on things on this last cup of tea. Because you've failed everything, the screen is going all over the place. We didn't notice and the milk fell over, pouring straight in, making the wrong tea, so we had to do it again.
That's not a good cup of tea. In fact, that's not a good... I've been looking forward to this cup of tea for 39 days. It was worth the wait.
So that's that. The Cutty Sark Trophy should pop, or achievement should pop, once you hit that last cup of tea. Give it a few seconds, and as long as you're under 30 minutes, you should be good to go. Hopefully this guide's been useful. Make sure you hit like and comment and subscribe if it has been. Let us know how you found this game. I've quite enjoyed playing it. It must be my 10th or so playthrough to get all the trophies. But yeah, it's been great fun. I like keeping an eye out for similar games, but if anyone knows of anything similar, please leave a comment, let us know, and hit subscribe and keep an eye out for future videos.